Hey, 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 happy Wednesday, everybody, and welcome to the WonderMama Coffee Chat for parents who lead. And today I have an incredible guest. I'm so excited. Been waiting to have her with me since I started. Um, with me today, I have Daniela Roman. She's right here. Um, this woman is a powerhouse. If you don't know her, please find her, follow her, and support the work that she does, not only in the kitchen, but out in the community and for women as a whole. Um, Daniela is the owner of Daniela's Delicious Delights. I have to read this because I don't want to miss anything. She is located in New Jersey, or out of the Philly area. Tell me about that. What is that? Where are you?
I am in New Jersey, but I service New Jersey and Philadelphia. Not
That's a lot of driving, isn't it?
really. We're right a few minutes from the bridge to Philly.
Awesome. It's all Greek to me. You have to show me on a map. Otherwise, it's like, because I'm in Florida.
Right.
So she helps women, mompreneurs specifically, become rock stars in the kitchen. And her story is so powerful. But I didn't know Daniela from the kitchen. I haven't met her yet, and I am not one of the people who has gotten to taste her tasty food yet, but I have read her book. She wrote this beautiful story that is full of, it's a tribute to her father. She calls him Big Bear in here. And just those life lessons and what was interesting and really precious about reading this book, Daniela, is that it wasn't just how you and your father communicated and how you understood him, but it was what you took from it. Like a lot of people don't notice all of those things. And so I just want to thank you for sharing this story with the world and taking the time. And I know it was hard to write. So also this book is available. Well, people can reach out to you for the best way to get it, right? And I
Yeah.
know, there we go. There we go. But Daniela, tell us. So welcome, first of all. Thank you for being here. But tell us a little bit about what you do and how this all started. Everything right now. Let's go.
All of it.
All of it. Mhm.
Thank you, Leon. Thank you so much for having me. I'm grateful to be here. Yeah, so I come from a traditional Italian family. And, most daughters in a traditional Italian family, they have to be in the kitchen learning how to cook at a young age. So, my mom, who actually is not even Italian, but you would think she is. My dad used to say, like, you're more Italian than I am, the stuff that and, learn and the way she cooks. So, between her and my grandmother, my dad's mom, that's where my passion for cooking began at 8 years old in the kitchen. And I never saw it as a chore, even though I had to be in the kitchen and especially Sunday mornings, the big Italian, meal. But I loved it. And it became a passion for me as I got older. Every, birthday or occasion or whatever, wherever I, was in that time of my life, it was like, Daniela, can you make this? And I loved it. And then fast forward, I had a restaurant in Philadelphia I co-owned for 20 years in Philadelphia.
Wow.
So I absolutely love that because I was, just living my dream of just creating food and serving people. It brings me joy. A lot of women, and we'll get to that after why I do what I do with kitchen confidence. They don't enjoy it. It stresses them out. And it's just a chore. It's like, oh, what am I going to make tonight? For my family, my kids. But for me, it comes natural. And it wasn't until I connected with Emilio that he made me realize it was a gift. To me, it was just something I did my whole life, right? But he's like, no, you have a gift. Not everybody can do what you do.
I think
So
that's one of the
that's
magical things about your husband is that he does recognize gifts. And we're going to
hmm
talk about him a little bit later. But
yeah.
this, yeah. So, so you've loved it from the beginning. And before we got on, we were talking about how it's actually super therapeutic. Like, when you're preparing and you're you're thinking about what you're making and you know who you're serving, there's a special kind of love that happens in that, you know, in that preparing. And it's also a form of art. Cooking and food is a preparer art. I definitely want to talk about that some more. And
Mm.
I bake. I'm a sourdough baker. And that's what I do for my own peace of mind. Hello, Angeline and Emilio. How are you?
Oh,
Um,
speak of the devil.
yeah. But one of the things that I really wanted to talk about is because it's a form of art that feels purposeful. And preparing something like when you're doing a catering event, purposeful. It's purpose, correct? So,
Right.
what is that like for you when you're doing that? Does that resonate?
Yeah, sure. Emilio will tell you too as well. Like, it doesn't matter if I'm making just a sandwich for him at lunch. It's just me and him, or I'm catering an event. Right? It's going to be the same passion and love that I put into it. Because for me, it's all about presentation. Just like they say, first impression is everything, right? So when you meet
Yeah.
someone, you are, and we all do this, in our head. It's like we're looking, how you're presenting yourself, how you're dressed, how you're speaking, because that first impression, like, you don't get a second chance at a first impression. So people
Yeah.
are going to judge like from that. So if you're looking at a meal, on a plate and it's just slopped on there, it's like not so appetizing, right? And so everything I do and create, comes from my heart, because I cook with love. And you can tell the difference if someone is just cooking because they have to or because they enjoy it and they really want to. So presentation is key. And if you have seen or followed me, on social media and my pictures, like, I am all about the presentation. It has to look beautiful. It has to look appetizing. I want, your eyes is what the first thing, that you before you taste it. So, you don't want to taste it if it looks unappetizing, right? So I put a lot into that, into presentation. That's key.
Yes. Oh, your husband says the key ingredient is love in your food.
Mm.
Also, it says that in even the name of your company, Daniela's Delicious Delights, like it you're claiming it's delightful. You're
Yeah.
claiming it's delightful. So,
Mm.
you know, the fact that it's an art form and something that is second nature for you, it's not that for many people. So, can you tell me a little bit of like what turned you into somebody who wants to train people how to be confident in the kitchen?
Yeah, because I got a lot of feedback. I'll get a lot of comments on my posts and, feedback when I do events, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, this was delicious. I could never do that," or "Cooking stresses me out." And one person in my community, she was like, "Oh, I hate it. I dread going in the kitchen and figuring out what I have to make for my family, and it gives me anxiety." And I'm like, "Okay." I'm like, and to me, you know what I mean? That's just not in my world, right?
That's
But
just
like Amelia,
Wednesday. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, right. And like Amelia says, like, everybody can't do what you do. When in my mind, I'm like, well, you get a recipe and you just follow it, And I'm like, okay, it's not that easy. I know people that follow recipes and it still comes out awful, And I'm like, I don't get it. So I had to, take a step back and put myself in there. She was like, yeah, it's like anything else, right? If somebody is, passionate about, I don't know, crocheting, right? Me, that's not my thing. Like, I couldn't forget it. I would like probably sew my fingers together. Like, it's just not my thing, right? But to them, it comes natural. They enjoy it. So, I had to look at it like that, and I'm like, okay, so I see some women need help. So I'm like, what can I do? So that's how, I created Kitchen Confidence. So this teaches you, from A to Z. First, like, is food safety, right? Getting in the kitchen, you have to have, food safety first. Because when I had the restaurant, you don't just open and, that's like, I had to know all these rules and everything, to keep your food safe, so people don't get sick. So, that it starts with that. And then like meal prep, what tools to use, what's the right knife for this. And, there's a lot to it when you really don't know, like me, I go in my kitchen, it's just like boom, boom, boom. But other people, it's like, I don't know how to use a food processor or a blender, or what's the right, chopping knife for fish, for meat, so it's a whole thing. So I'm like, okay, so I put that together, and it's to help mompreneurs become rock stars in the kitchen. So because you can, and just take the stress out of it and make it fun. That's the thing. You have to make what you do fun, because I enjoy it. It's fun for me. And I want to make it fun for women that, are just stressed and they had come home, whether you work from home or out of the home. When it's dinner time, I get it. It's stressful. And if you're not prepared, you could eat 7, 8 o'clock at night. So what I do is I'm like, pick a day, which is usually a Sunday when you have some free time, and meal prep for the week. So I teach that. So when you come home or go in the kitchen, however, if you work from home, it's plug and play, so you can have a meal on the table within less than an hour. So
That's
that's pretty much it.
that's
Mhm,
so helpful. One of the things that just meal prepping and just having a plan, it's one of the
mhm,
biggest stressors for women. And I recently just released my Calm Before the Money planner, and one of the most important parts is the
mhm,
weekly meal prep. As a matter of fact, that meal planning, you and I maybe should talk about that maybe together, because
mhm.
I help moms plan out their week and their groceries so that
Okay.
they know ahead of time. But you've taken it a step further by helping them with meal prepping. And for some, that just feels really overwhelming. And
Mhm, mhm.
even the idea that maybe being in the kitchen is going to be something cathartic or relaxing or anything is sometimes a really big ask. So what do you do to the naysayers? How do you support them into introducing them? Because we all have to eat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's like I said, right? I try to make it fun.
Yeah.
So, you know what? Involve your kids, involve your husband, because a lot of times it could be you're working late, or you're just not there. And it's up to the husband to get the meal on the table for the family, So involve them, make it fun, give one child, let's say, a duty to chop, the other one to, prep, whatever it is. So involve each other, like, so it's especially at the beginning, right? If the mom is just not into it, so if you include the family, and that's good quality family time, so you're getting, more than just a meal, and then you can all sit down and be like, okay, we all contributed to this,
Yeah.
so you got to make
But
it fun.
yeah, I love that. And I love that there's you out there who is willing to help somebody through that, who feels really overwhelmed in the kitchen, who doesn't feel like they really know how to do anything, that lack of confidence, and just stepping in and making it instead of throwing your hands up and just calling Uber Eats.
Right.
Right.
Mhm.
Unless, of course, you want Daniela's food, and then we can Uber Eats it to your house too.
Yeah. I'll deliver. You don't need Uber Eats.
Oh, nice. So so you've been cooking since, and you've written this book. What made you do this? Like, this is yours. What was your life like before? I know you're a mom and a grandma like
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
Yes. So would you be interested in sharing your story just a little bit so people know what
Yeah,
it
sure.
what it takes and the fortitude that's required?
Yeah. So, like I said, coming from a traditional Italian family, I grew up, I had a great childhood, great, both parents in the home, and, um, you know, being taught about life, like as we were growing up, as the book shares, all the wisdoms and things that my dad shared. And my mom, of course, she was just the best mom, still is. But then I left home at 18. And that was a whole different world for me, let's say. As much as my dad and my parents tried to prepare us, for life, it's, once you're in it, it's a whole different story. And I was naive as much, again, as he taught me. I wasn't around, like I didn't date, prior to that, I didn't really hang out with a lot of friends. So I was a little naive and trusting people, so it was like I was just that, they saw me coming a mile away, it was just very giving and trusting. So, ended up in a abusive relationship, and that went on for a few years, and it was just very, your self-esteem just gets kind of crushed, and didn't want to go back to mom and dad, right? And it was like that pride, and also embarrassing, like how
Mm,
did I end up with, as much as I idolized my dad, right? And the type of husband and father and son that he was, like you would think I'd find somebody like him, and it was like the complete opposite. So it kind of shows where my self-esteem was,
mm,
at that time. And I just kind of dealt with it, and then finally moved away from that, and ended up in another abusive relationship. So, repeated patterns, so um,
yes.
so it took me a few years to learn, and people ask me, they're like, what would you tell, your younger self, like at that time? And it's like, know your worth. I didn't know my worth at that time. I
Mm,
didn't think, obviously, that I was worthy of, any better for whatever reason. So dealt with that for several years. Also went through sexual trauma. I was sexually assaulted in my sleep at 19, and kind of buried that for 30 years. Didn't tell anyone until Emilio, actually. And that manifested, unhealed trauma really manifests into so many things. And for me, it was like anxiety and depression and eating disorders, and all kinds of stuff. And I'm like, why? Like, I don't know. Like, as I was going through it through all those years, I was raising my son, working, had a business, whatever, but dealing with all this, but not dealing with it, and again, it wasn't until I connected with Emilio and he shares some of his traumas, childhood traumas, that it's like a light switch went off. And I'm like, so I shared it for the first time. And then fast forward, like sharing it in anthologies and books and speaking on it. And that's when the actual healing began. Because for 30 plus years, because we're living life and we're getting up every day and working and raising our kids, right? We think we're good,
mm.
and you're really not.
No, thank you for sharing that. And it's something that we do as women, right? We do that. We and I want to say I'm not 100% sure it's exclusive to women, but it's primarily women, is that we tend to just carry it. Like, I'm fine. I got this. And we just like that backpack is so heavy and it's full of stuff that we've never looked at. It's full of stuff that we know's there, but it's way too much and I just got to keep going. And we tend to push and push and push until something breaks or we finally land and find somebody like Emilio who is able to see, who is safe, and said, hey, if you share your story, your backpack will be lighter. I'll carry half of it. And then when you start putting it around, it's golden nuggets that you're sharing. These golden nuggets that you're sharing out there. Every time you share your story, it gives somebody that little bit of know your worth. And it's like, oh, Daniela said, know my worth. I can be
Mhm.
confident in the kitchen. I mean, all of the things that you do and being able to share and share. And then it turns into, instead of a weight and a burden, it turns into a golden nugget that saves people's lives. And so, what you do in sharing your story and what you do in helping people find confidence in something that's so important, like making food for your family. And
Yeah,
knowing
you
that
got to
it's going
eat.
to be delicious, you got to eat and you have to and your energy and the way you do it is so incredibly kind and available. And I really appreciate that. And I also appreciate this story because we all have a story in us. We all have something that needs to turn from the burden into the golden nuggets in everybody's backpack. And so I love that. So that's heavy. So
Yeah.
what what's next? Like, first of all, for everybody right now, we are live streaming on Facebook and we have our wonderful friends here popping in and out and supporting us. And what is the best way for somebody to connect with you, to learn about your kitchen confidence course, maybe get some Daniela's Delicious Delights food, and your book? And also, we don't want to leave out that you and Emilio do so much work and you truly help people. And then we'll talk about how we're going to stay connected and how you're going to. But I'd really like to know what's the best way to stay in touch with you.
Yeah, so social media, I mean, obviously you can reach out to me privately on Facebook or email me at info@danielasdeliciousdelights.com. That's two of the best ways to connect with me.
Awesome. Awesome. That is amazing. And what else do you do? Like you and Amelia are a powerhouse together, and he's a whole thing.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
he's a whole thing.
he's a whole thing. Since I met him, he is the hype man. So, and I'm so happy to know he actually gave me my first opportunity to speak publicly. I was so
Yeah,
buttoned up and so nervous.
awesome.
But what I did learn is that I can just be me,
Yeah.
and I learned that from him and from you, and I really appreciate that. And many people in the CLA, incredible group of people. So, what are you guys doing?
Yeah, so right now we have, as you know, the Born to Risk movement, I call it, because it's really a movement. We're on our third edition, the signature edition. And we are having a big launch in Virginia Beach called the Ultimate Virginia Beach Mastermind book launch in August.
Mm,
So if anyone is, interested in celebrating with us, if you want to be, I'm just going to do shameless plug. We still have chapters available in the signature edition of Born to Risk. And we did an inaugural Veterans Edition. And that is, oh, wow, powerful stories. From veterans, their greatest risk while in the military. And it's not all what you think that it's, war stories and things like that. It's a lot of personal journeys, and being away from family and kids and really incredible stories. So that is also launching in August in Virginia Beach.
wow.
Speaker competitions, as you know, we put on speaker competitions. We'll be doing there. We put on quarterly masterminds, virtual mastermind, which is where you first spoke
Yes.
in one of our masterminds. And then we do the in home, which is coming up March 27th and March 28th. So if you want more information about that, you can reach out about that. There's just, yeah, there's so much. And real
No.
quickly, there is a Guinness World Records attempt. It's not our event, but we are, Emilio is a ambassador to, who is putting this legacy project on, as he calls it, in Philadelphia May 30th. So if you want to be part of history and be a part of Guinness World Records, reach out. It's going to be amazing. You need to
Oh,
be
I
in it,
love that.
Leanne.
So, do me a favor. That's a lot. So, if you and Emilio could please put together just a little compilation, and I will drop all of that information
Yeah,
in the notes from this after we're finished, but I'll also
definitely.
put it up on the YouTube channel underneath the podcast notes so people can find you and find more about it. So, there are three ways that they can connect with this. We are about to stop talking publicly on and live streaming, and the reason I do it this way is the whole reason this whole thing started is I don't know if you noticed, but internet is so noisy. We have bots, we have fake people, we also have incredible humans out here really trying to make the world a better place. And I have clients who are just so overwhelmed, and even me sometimes overwhelmed with just all of the stuff that comes at us. So I created the Wonder Mama Coffee Chat for parents who lead to introduce real people to each other. And that's why this even exists. And so I invite incredible humans, entrepreneurs who are trying to make the world a better place and who are parents who understand what it is like to parent and go through life and still try to do something good to show up for the good. And so I'm so, so grateful that you agreed to be part of this today. And
Thank
I
you.
hope that you'll come back because I think there's more inside of you that we need to share with the world. And so, for all of Facebook and social media, we're going to say goodbye now. Goodbye now. And we're going to um, stop the live stream and go inside. Anyone who is part of the Wonder Mama community can be part of the private conversation that happens after the live. We go into the community and community members can have a deeper conversation. So, the Wonder Mama Place community is on school, and it is for women who are high capacity moms who really need a community. So, um, yeah, so goodbye, everybody.
Thank you, Leo.
You're welcome.